Oh, there we go. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Okay, turn it down a little bit. That's a little better. Wait. Oh God. Wait a minute. Oh God. Hmm. Can you have that there? Ah, you know what? No, I'm just gonna disable it on here. I do not want my. I do not want empty taxes. Hello, goodbye, Dapper. YouTube chat has no idea that you put did that. Okay, I'm just trying to do settings here before I just start. God, it's hot in here. Okay, time to actually play the game now. English. Yes, I have played it before. Dim that a little bit. One 26. Okay, welcome to the Stanley Park. Deluxe. Now you can't hear me, can you? Shit, now you can't hear me at all, can you? I'm gonna just do that a little bit. See, look, there. Okay, there we go. That's a little better, maybe. Let's see. Oh, there we go.
This is a story
Yeah,
of a man named Stanley.
Thank you very much, Dapper.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple.
Stream on
He sat at his
Twitch.
desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day, every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his...
Oh, well, fuck, that's fine. Well, you know what? I'm gonna end the game early.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me.
I'm doing that.
In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
No!
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Hello there.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Tamor, how you doing?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors,
I hope to God that was not like
a
reference to something. I hope to God. Okay, Jai, which way should I go? Left or right? Just go left. Okay, I think that's a good idea.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
You know what?
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Nah.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet.
Indeed.
No reason to still be here.
Nah. We just gonna chill.
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As
yeah,
it is,
that's
he's
fair, but
literally just standing
I'm
there
chilling.
doing sweet FA.
Hold on, let me see if there's any...
Are you really still in the broom closet?
Yes,
Standing
I am,
around doing
narrator.
nothing?
How
Why?
did you know?
Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused.
For the meme, of course. For the meme.
You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If
Yeah.
I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out.
Well, Mr. Narrator,
It
I
didn't
don't give
occur
a
to me,
crap.
because literally, this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it. Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friends, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favourite." I hope your friends find this concerning.
I'm just gonna chill here.
Stanley was fat and ugly and really
Oh.
probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Oh, come on. Come off it, dude. Come on.
Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead.
Oh?
You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to
No.
leave because there's nothing here, when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the keyboard. Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. They have fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right, when you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
What the what? Hold on. What? Excuse me? Oh no. Oh shit. Damn it. Ah. What the fuck? What? What the hell? What? So it's this? Is it this? Hold on, chat. Here I am. Hold on. Hold on, chat. I have to fix some settings. Oh, damn it. Alright, I don't want to do this right now. I have to. Hit virtual camera. There we go. I did that. Albino. Okay, let me just fix some settings here. How yous doing? How's yous doing? I'm Albino Hedgehog. How's y'all's doing? How's y'all doing? I'm Albino Hedgehog. I'm Albino Hedgehog. How you doing? Ha 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 ha. Okay, let's get back to the game. Okay.
Ah, second player. It's good to have you too. Unbelievable. I'm at the mercy of an entire species of invalids. Perhaps there's a monkey nearby you can hand the controls to. A fish? Fungus? Look, you can hammer out the details. I'm not particularly picky. I'll just be waiting for when you're ready to pick up the story again.
Fine. Okay, fine. Okay.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Fine, I'll go upstairs. I'll be nice.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him, and so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Ooh. What's that button do?
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Okay.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Too hard to say. Too hard to say. I don't know.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
I was getting ready to turn on my PC and I had to head to bed. Figured perfect timing to pop in and say hi.
The proof.
Thank you,
the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. Yes. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life, for he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Okay, guys. Ugh.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty.
Nope, not bringing up that guy.
Was it over?
Blackness and redness and whiteness.
Yes.
Oh,
He had won. He had defeated the machine. Unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere
The Stanley
moments
Parable is
away.
real!
And yet,
Yeah!
even as the immense door slowly opened,
The Stanley
Stanley
Parable,
reflected on
it's
how many
real!
puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How
Yeah, I don't
had he
know.
been freed from the machine's grasp? What
don't
other
know.
mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his
Yes.
goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or
No.
how to feel. Whatever
to
life he
analyze.
lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
I will.
Stanley
I'm
felt
free.
the cool breeze
I'm
upon his
free.
skin, the feeling of
Let's
liberation, the immense
go.
possibility of the new
Yeah.
path before him.
Yeah.
This was exactly the way,
Yeah.
right now, that things
Yeah,
were
damn
meant
it,
to
we
happen.
did it. We
And Stanley
did it.
was happy.
Whoa. Whoa. Okay. Well, that was fun. Let's keep going.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Nope, I did not.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
Yeah.
I'm not your enemy, really.
I'm not.
I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me. I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Fine, I'll go to the narrator, but goddammit.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
No. Give me more dialogue, buddy. Surely you have more dialogue if I don't pick up the phone, right? can't do it. I can't do it. No. No. I can't do it. Fine. 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 Ah.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. Sorry, but you're in my story now. This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley. Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Oh, fuck you.
But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown.
Oh my God.
Fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First,
Wait
he
a
imagined
minute.
that one day while at work,
Wait a
he stepped
minute.
out from his desk to realize that all of his
Wait a
coworkers, his boss,
minute.
everyone in the building had
Wait.
suddenly vanished off the face of the earth.
Wait a
The
minute.
thought excited him terribly.
Wait a minute.
So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each
Wait
door.
a
The mere thought that his decisions would mean
Wait a
something was
minute.
almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy
Wait a
world,
minute.
he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room
Wait
with
a
monitors and mind
minute.
controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many
Wait a
directions.
minute.
And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
Wait a minute.
It was such a wonderful fantasy.
Wife,
And so in his
help
head,
me.
he
I'm
relived
going
it
to the office.
again,
No.
and then again, and
Wife.
again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
No.
And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
I'm gonna press it. You press it for me, my man. button. I have to press it, I guess.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Try to get my buddy here. It's gonna be funny.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow, yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her...
No. Nope, wrong one. Shit, wrong one.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Go down the stairs next time. What was the number?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf. looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But as Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music. Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Actually, gotta go fuck with some.
Hello, the elevator!
What?
Whoops, nope, never mind. Stanley actually got back into the elevator and went back up. Silly me. Why did Stanley do that when he knew that it would just lead back to his boss's office? Well, that's a great question. I just can't wait to find out. Here we are, Stanley. It's your boss's office. Exactly the way it was before you got onto the elevator. It's still just exactly what it is. What a decision you've made to come up here and look at the office again. This has fleshed out the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never anticipated. It's that keen eye for storytelling that you have, an incisive rapid fire of critical plot points, one after the other, weaving a rich tapestry of uncompromising narrative. Wow! I'm bolted to the edge of my seat. Incredible. Now he's getting back into the elevator and going down again. Ladies and gentlemen, how does he keep coming up with all of this? Surely this time Stanley will walk forward into the spooky corridor, won't he? Did you think we were going to go forward down the spooky corridor? No. It's time once again to go back up in the elevator.
Yes, it is.
I can't even begin to grapple with what might be up there. Is it the boss's office again? Or what if it's the boss's office this time? The suspense is killing me. Oh my God. It's the boss's office.
Dear God.
This absolutely changes everything for me. Give me a timeout here for a minute while I process this.
Okay.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm prepared to embrace this stunning revelation and to move forward with... No! No, wait! No! I need more time to process. All right, I have fully come to terms with it. I have made space in my worldview for this astonishing new reality. As before, I turn to your expert eye for gripping narrative, Master Stanley.
How you doing, Biz?
Of course.
Happy
Going back down the
2 a.m.
elevator.
to you too,
How
Biz.
did I not anticipate it? I mean, sure, now it's obvious, but you have to understand that 30 seconds ago, this kind of thing had never been attempted before. I had no frame of reference to even anticipate it. That's just how revelatory Stanley's decision-making is. A breath of fresh air in a landscape of storytelling that has grown stale and repetitive.
I figured I'd stream for a bit because I'm just bored and my buddy's not gonna he's not gonna be getting on tonight. So I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna hit this button again. But yeah, I was like, yeah, I'll stream again. Why not? That's why I went with albino this time.
You know what? I've just thought of something. Hold on, let's
uh,
stop for a moment. Don't you realize? It's the anticipation, Stanley.
I'm actually
You and
streaming on
I, we have
actually.
no way of knowing what will
Alright,
be at the
change
top
up
of
a
this
little bit.
elevator. But the suspense, the agony of waiting and anticipating and having to guess, that's the real thrill. Oh, I simply don't want to let that feeling go. It's so precious, so fleeting. Why don't we take this elevator ride nice and slow? There we go. Isn't this so much more exciting? You know, Stanley, it seems like nowadays the only thing that audiences want is to be shocked as loudly and frequently as possible. They want big, explosive moments flung right in their faces from the very moment that things get started. But where's the tension? Where's the trust in the audience to build a slow and nuanced appreciation for the story, the characters? Why aren't we given time to imagine surprises? To have to think and to anticipate and then to marvel at the eventual reveal. This is storytelling, Stanley. What you and I are doing right now. This is the most exciting narrative to be developed in years. And it's really all because of you. You're the one who took this bold step of revisiting the exact same locations over and over. Truly, I mean it.
I don't know
this
how
is
you do
unique
it.
and different. It's not like anything else out there. You see, I want stories that surprise me, Stanley.
Like
I want to have
one
to
of these many
think.
buttons.
I want to be engaged and not
So this is
pandered
the spin
to.
button.
We're being fed such unimaginative drivel all the time, and we all know it, which is why we're so
shoot, I lost the
starved for
hog.
content
Oh, no.
that makes us feel sharp and vital and alive. That's why people like you so much, Stanley. Because you're not afraid to spit
Shit.
in the face of tradition. You're a role model, you know? People look up to you. Which is why... Oh, I didn't know
There
when
you
to
go.
spring this on you, but,
Yeah,
well,
no,
I've gathered a little press conference for you, so that you can talk about your work and your storytelling and your life.
No, wait,
Yes,
this-
I know
this
you're
honestly
not
feels
much
wrong.
for the
Hold on.
public eye, but I
Just,
thought it would
there we go.
especially mean a lot to the people who have been following you from the beginning.
we
They
go.
really look up to you, Stanley. I don't know if you realize the impact you have on them. This is the kind
I
of
got those
gesture
two.
that might leave a
crazy.
tremendous impact on them for the better. Oh, good, we're here.
What the fuck?
Okay, the room where we're holding the press conference should be just
nice.
around the corner
I do
here
not.
somewhere.
I have to be at work for like 3. I mean, I'm not. I'm especially for
Yes, here it is, just through this door. All right, are you ready? I've told them you're going to speak a little bit about the nature of surprise in storytelling and what it means to craft a truly unpredictable narrative. Oh, don't worry, you'll do great. Just be
Brother,
yourself
that's
and
crazy.
speak from the heart. I'm
The dude
really
came up with
proud of
this
you,
is
Stanley. Okay,
It's
it looks like they're ready for you. Go
Lord.
get them.
Meet and greet.
For me? All this for me?
Oh, my tinnitus. God. Well.
How wonderful. Stanley was alone. Finally. This is great, he thought to himself. This is what I've wanted all along. I got what I wanted.
Sorry.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Oh, I see.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
I'm just gonna keep going. No, I do that. I've already gone
When
through
Stanley
the,
came to a set of two open
fine, I'll
doors,
follow your
he entered the
command.
door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of
thought that was like-
disbelief,
what the
Stanley
heck?
decided to go up to his boss's
that.
office, hoping he might find. Coming to a staircase, Stanley
Oh,
walked
yeah.
upstairs
It was
to
right
his
there.
boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished.
Wait a minute.
His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy.
Crazy?
All of my co-workers
crazy
blinking
once.
mysteriously
Look at me in
out
the
of
room.
existence in a
Rubber
single
room.
moment for no
remember-
reason
I
at
remember room
all.
with rats.
None of it made any logical
rats being
sense.
crazy.
And as
Crazy?
Stanley pondered this,
I was
he
crazy
began to
once.
make other
Put me in a
strange
room.
observations.
Yeah, rubber room.
For example, why
Rubber room
couldn't
with
he
rats.
see his feet
Rats
when he
are crazy.
looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real.
Indeed,
And at
this is quite-
last,
this is quite-
he
this
came
is
to the
quite strange,
conclusion
Commander.
that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming! He yelled.
Yep.
This
or
is all a
any
dream.
running sequence.
Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to
weren't.
lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the
Wait a
ground.
minute. No.
Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley,
That's
who found it
crazy.
particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, He knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am.
You know, Biz, the game actually
okay.
is actually on the Switch. If you ever want to play it, I mean, it is really
Stanley
fun.
began screaming. Please, someone wake
What?
me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real.
This is not my
Please, just
beautiful
someone
house.
tell me
This
I am
ain't-
real.
this is-
I
this
must
is
be
not my
real. I
beautiful
must
wife.
be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who
Who
am I?
am
Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
What?
Mariella woke up on a
Say
day
it.
like any other.
What?
She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular
Dear
day, her
God.
walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk.
I'm gonna get
And
some
although
water.
she
My
would
room
soon
is
turn to
heating
go
up. I'll be
call
right
for an
back.
ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think
no.
this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel
Probably why the
better.
Hawk doesn't do this anymore.
But
with
then
the
she
full
remembered the
body.
meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Oh my God, you're right. I just pulled up I just pulled up YouTube stream so I could rewind that, and oh my God, you're right. Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Yeah, basically.
When Stanley came to a set of two
Okay,
open
that-
doors, he entered the door on his left.
Should I listen to him or should I just go the other door? What do you think, Biz? Oh, wait, oh, that was just an ending. It just starts over. So I think I'm best gonna go this door again.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at
wait,
following
no.
directions,
Oh,
it's
you know what,
incredible he
actually,
wasn't
hold on.
fired years ago.
Well, this is an ending right here.
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Okay, so I had to restart that so I could get another ending.
The meeting room. Yes, that's where everyone would be.
Yes.
Stanley just needed to get to the meeting room, and from then on, he would never be alone ever again.
You know what? Oh yeah, I'll just do the other ending before I do the new content.
When Stanley came to a set of two
I'm
open
gonna follow your
doors,
lead.
he entered the door on his left.
Yeah. Oh no. Where's that?
Yet there was not a single person here either.
Insane.
Feeling a wave of
five.
disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Okay. Ooh, nice red.
Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Quelle
Yo!
surprise.
Oh, it looks a lot faster now, doesn't it? Okay, I think. Oh, thank you. Yeah, he's
Stanley
bored.
walked straight ahead through the large door that
Nope.
read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
What?
The
Ain't
door
no
behind
way.
him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on
I'll be
track.
fine. I'm built different.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
But yeah. Also, I'm sure it's probably. They probably see why I mentioned the Hog. Hey, Hog, you should play Stanley Parable because I feel like he would be pretty funny. Just how his banter would go with this.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been
I'm
of
gonna
no
die.
consequence
I'm going to
whatsoever.
die.
Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Oh no. Huh?
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws.
Is that Marielle?
In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
What? What the?
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
What's over here? Huh, that's kind of cool. Is it even is going on at this point? I'm very much confused.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another?
Yes.
No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
Well... and there we go. Now that should be the ending now, I think.
How wonderful. Stanley was alone. Finally. This is great, he thought to himself. This is what I've wanted all along. I got what I wanted. Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful.
Yes.
I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
Woo! Woohoo!
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Double-doored elevators. One side opens, the other side.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley. All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
Riveting gameplay here. Absolutely riveting. What? No, I'm done.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
You know what? I feel like that might become necessary later, so I'm gonna hold on to those jumps. I think I'm not gonna do that.
Good.
I'm not making
Elevator.
that.
Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content?
Yeah.
If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh, wait. There's more.
Hello.
Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
The fuck?
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan
this
base
is
rush a cheap
bullshit.
expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And
Yeah,
don't get me
exactly.
started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to
let's
get
do
back
that.
to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks.
No quills,
Just
no
you
pillows.
and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Whoa.
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something!
No, I think like in a specific part in like the narrator's area, there's a jumping bit.
Okay, you remember how cheap and
But no, you can't jump in
unsatisfying
this
the new
game at all.
Ultra Deluxe
And if you use
content
it all
turned
up,
out to
it's
be?
gone.
Well, it got
You
me
can't use it
thinking
anymore. You
about the
can't jump
past
anymore.
and how much better
So I'll
the
save you
Stanley
for
Parable used to be. So I
narrator's
made
thing.
something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look. I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences
Zone
like the
Sweet
launch of the
Sound.
Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013 when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Yeah, that's a real achievement, by the way. And I think for this new one, they had one for 10 years, I think I saw. I think that's possible. I can't remember how you get there. Huh. Nice. Nice. Huh. Damn, I can't go over there.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable
my
was.
neck's about to snap
It was
again.
literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim. It was Persona 3. It was all of them. And now, it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
Yeah, he does. He really does. Alright, sorry, it is like stuffy in here from my computer heating up. Damn, can't go maintenance room? Damn, okay. Huh. Yeah. Yep. Oh, well, that's cool. The good old days.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content.
What the fuck am I
It just
doing?
needed
Whoa.
to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
Those arms don't like it whenever you stretch. Just. Excuse me.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again.
Oh, I see. Wait. Do I go back out here then? Oh, never mind. I'm stupid.
Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game
on the Switch
distributor.
version, it's
I
like
haven't looked at these in
from a-
years.
from a
I
reliable
can't even
game
imagine what's been
place.
collecting down here. Surely these
On the
reviews
Switch
were
version,
glowing as
or
well, weren't
console
they?
version.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them. Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy, honestly.
Debatable.
You can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did, but maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure.
In my chair.
Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
Oh no. What's next?
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button?
No.
Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have. And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No, 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 no. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people, and if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this. The story, and the choices, or what have you, and their... Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal Well, there's sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof! Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's... Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer. And Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a... Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is...
So probably after 10 years, about it's probably oh god, I don't, maybe 10 years now. No, now it's been 10 years. I just looked it up. Or 5 to... I don't know.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth.
Well, it's like stuff starts to die.
The end is never the end, 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 is never.
Nothing. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Can you not come by and just, I don't know, get this thing repaired? I don't know. We're at least past 200 years, or 100 years at this point. Well, yeah, we are definitely past 100 or 200 years. Oh God, what did they say, Biz? Yeah. And then it'll start coming, and it'll start coming, and it'll start coming, and it'll start coming. Ooh, what's going on here? It's getting kind of creepy out. Oh boy. 10,000 years. He's such a crick in the neck. I think it's been a minute since everything happened. Ooh. Okay, I guess that's it.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley
And
decided to
narrator's
go to the
none
meeting
the
room.
wiser.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
New content. Ooh.
Oh, good. You notice my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
That's probably what they were referencing, probably. Right, now that I think about it.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra-deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any
Yes.
new content for it should live up to that legacy. So
Yes.
forget this ultra-deluxe nonsense. I say we
Yeah.
take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
Dear God. I'm gonna tell you right now, when I heard the Switch 2 is coming out, this was
You see, isn't this
was
far
genuinely
superior
the first
to a
thing I thought
measly
of.
re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover
Stanley
with a
Parable
fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for. Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
Yeah.
Now, to be clear,
See,
I
like
haven't
Expo
quite
Hall
nailed down
2,
what exactly
Joy-Con
the
2,
Stanley
it
Parable
really just-
2
it
is
just
going to
reminded
be.
me of the-
But let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for
I just
it.
thought of the Stanley
I
Parable.
figure that if I can loosely
Ultra
organize
Deluxe
a handful of interesting
Parable
concepts,
2.
that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Remember when the game first came out? When people... Hold on. I'm actually curious. Let me just do a little bit of this, do a little bit of that, do a bit of this, grab the phone, open camera. Just curious. I'm very curious. I guess the... Oh, wait, hang on. Just... Hold on. Oh, so, okay, I guess there's nothing anymore. Basically, back when the game first came out, they had a thing where it was now in the expo hall, and basically streamers who were playing the game would pop up on there, but not anymore. Is that a freaking Bad Apple reference? Stanlerines.
Ah, collectibles. Now
Yeah,
it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life. God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic. You know what, Stanley? I actually think the jump circle was a pretty good idea. I'd like to hang on to that for the sequel. Now here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes, you see, okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard. This is the story of a man. Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed. fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen. What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet? Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with? You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Happy 12th birthday, step-niece, it is. Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision, we're moving on. A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try. Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on and on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2. Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
Yes, it is indeed a bucket.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself,
How you
what
doing
do
there,
players
Tony?
really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be
Also,
individually
your handle is
recognized
Indigo Cool
and
Vinyl
validated
00.
as
That's
people.
crazy.
So with that in mind, my first addition to the game... Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of
my
this
name is
feature.
Jim.
Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim, sleeping and waking as Jim.
Jim.
Whoa, hold on. I wasn't finished setting up the backstory. If you don't properly roleplay as Jim, then you'll never understand the impact of this button. Otherwise, it's just a stupid button that says somebody else's name.
Where am I?
Okay, we're doing it again, and this time let me finish first.
Last explosion was 9 months ago. The defendant's balls.
Imagine yourself driving to work as Jim, playing frisbee on the weekends as Jim.
Also, my computer
staying
is
up all night
hot
for
right now, 'cause
popcorn and
I
horror movie
literally,
sleepover as Jim. Developing a crippling substance addiction as Jim. Rediscovering yourself through fringe religious groups as Jim. And finally, dying a slow death at an old age, surrounded by members of your cult as Jim. Do you feel it in your soul? Are you really, truly Jim right now? If so, then please step forward and press the button.
Jim.
Yes! You see? What a thrill! What a rush! That was you! The button described you! Do it again, do it again!
Yeah!
Jim.
It hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation. Whoa there, cowboy. Sometimes a person can be too much Jim. I'm putting the Jim button away.
No.
Otherwise, soon you'll start to lose all sense of who you actually are.
Jim.
No! I'm really only shooting at 720p. That's crazy.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play. An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it would go at the end of the...
Jim.
Well, we'll figure that out later.
Jim. Yeah?
Aha! I can see you've gotten the Settings World Champion achievement. Well done. You've experienced every setting, traveled to all corners of the settings menu. There's nothing you haven't seen. So, just for you, in the Stanley Parable 2, I'm including an entirely new setting, something called bumpscosity. What exactly is bumpscosity? Well, I haven't quite figured that part out yet, but I just know that you'll be able to adjust it on some sort of slider, and that it'll be available from the settings menu. We'll sort the rest of the details out later. I hope you're looking forward to trying out every level of
Bumpscosity
in the Stanley Parable 2.
Oh, I turned the bumpscosity up to 1,000.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right.
Oh?
Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time, if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
If there is a hole.
You see, Isn't it
Berries.
wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so.
Oh God,
Now
Leonard.
then, since you've gotten to
Yeah,
see the
I
infinite
agree.
hole,
I agree.
You can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward.
Nah, I'm gonna keep falling.
Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button
Nah.
to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum
Nah.
of things.
Look at me ball.
Okay, Stanley, I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole. Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Okay, well, good for you.
second
You found the bottom
brother.
of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely?
Yeah,
I
that's
figured
fair.
the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem. Look, things got
What?
a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and
Explain
agree to
thyself.
just call the hole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready. Great. Now, I'm very Oh, for heaven... You see, I was right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like holes too much. Not normal. A normal person would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there, goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of... Oh. Did the hole seem even shorter to you
Yes,
this time?
yes, it did.
I couldn't help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I mean, admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole, but I didn't think it was that not infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above. Had enough? I'm positively thrilled. Gosh, how could I have guessed? You're back in the hole. If this starts to become a thing where... Wow. Okay. Yeah. I'm starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily less and less infinite. I suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability and marketing. What's going on
Yes.
here? Stanley,
do
I
not
have
know.
no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter. Well, there it is. The shame of my... How is this still appealing to you? I know you're obsessed with holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch. Oh, who am I to judge? You just do whatever it is you're here to do and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on. Is the, teleport button not working? You sure? Well, I mean, I really don't have an explanation. Still nothing? Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out. Goodbye, Stanley. You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could ever have asked for. It's a win for everyone. You get to be with the hole, I get to do literally anything else. Take care, Stanley. I hope you and the hole have a wonderful rest of eternity together.
Well, chat. We fucked. This motherfucker. He fucking killed us. Motherfucker! You know what?
My head's stronger. Now you're no longer using up the space of mine. My head's strong.
Stanley! Oh, good, you're awake. It seems you had sort of dozed off there, drifting away into dreamland. But we can't have that, Stanley, because this hole is just so darn fascinating that I want you to be wide awake for every second of it. You don't want to miss a single moment. So how about if I just pop in from time to time and wake you up to keep you really, truly focused on the hole? From the looks of things, you and I will have many, many years here in this hole, and I'm looking forward to all of them. Stay alert, Stanley. I'll be back. Toodle-pip. Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features. All right, have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now? So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay. Are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2. I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on, let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go, version 2. Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2." Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it... Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks. Now suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition. I have to say I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes, almost certainly 50 clicks. No, I'm still not feeling it. I want this achievement to have meant something. It has to be a true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley. I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way no matter what the cost. Why don't you go put 20 clicks into door number 417? Stanley felt the bucket calling to him, begging him to pick it up. Why was he not doing it? Oh, great! Now, go click a few times on door 437. Excellent! I think we're getting somewhere. Now, door 415. Let's give it 10 clicks or so. Now, back to door number 437. Let's see. How about you click on, well, I don't know, the copy machine? All right, back to room 417. I'm really feeling it now. I think we're getting somewhere. Okay, now go climb on employee 419's desk. Yes! This is great! You're putting it all on the line, Stanley. I like that. All right, let's keep it up. Go give me a few clicks on door 416. We've almost got it! Now the copy machine, do that one again! Finish it off, Stanley! 5 clicks on door 430! Yes! We did it! Oh, wow. That felt amazing. Oh, you really earned it, Stanley. Nothing could hold you back. Yes, I'm very proud of how far we've come today. Just think, only a few minutes ago you believed an achievement was worth 5 little clicks. Really now, what were you thinking? Stanley picked up the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than... No. Never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No, said the bucket. Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift. Good, said the bucket. Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the... No, stop! Look there on the wall, you see? There's a sign right there. It says, "No buckets past this point." Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless... What if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment. Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket? Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket? Incorrect. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 2. Is this a bucket? Correct. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 3. Is this a bucket? Incorrect. This is a bucket. Item 4. Is this a bucket? What? Are you hallucinating? This is a tractor. It's an enormous machine that tills the earth. I thought this was a gimmick. How on earth did you manage to screw it up? Absolutely incredible. Let's just move on to the next one. Is this a bucket? Correct. This is a bucket. Item 6. Is this a bucket? Trick question. Both. Gotcha. Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere. Yes. Thank you. There's nothing here. Of course it isn't a bucket. We both know full well that nothing isn't a bucket. Wait, when I say nothing isn't a bucket, that makes it sound like I'm saying everything is a bucket, which of course is not true. Unless... Is that what you think? Answer me straight, Stanley. Are you trying to tell me that you believe everything is a bucket? You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence, and yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket? Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry, but I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely. Okay,
Bucketist.
Here we go.
That's bucketist. That's bucketist, you motherfucker.
What happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket? Every single thing in the game was a bucket. Oh my God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation. The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine. Wait, Stanley said to the bucket. Can we go back up? When I was pressing those keypad buttons, there was something very intriguing about the number 3. I want to go back so I can try pressing the number 3 again. The bucket said nothing. Here we are, said Stanley. Now I'm going to try out that number 3 button. He took the bucket over to the keypad and began absolutely slamming on the number 3. Wow, he said. The number 3 is such a special button. I'm having the time of my life. Stanley looked expectantly at the bucket, but the bucket remained silent. This was a shock to Stanley, who had always felt such a connection with the bucket. How was this not as exciting to... Perhaps the bucket had missed something. Perhaps it had not seen how much joy Stanley got from slamming the number 3 repeatedly. No, said Stanley to the bucket. You can't go on yet. Not till you understand how much the number 3 means to me. You and I have been through so much together, and I just want you to see what I see. Feel the happiness I feel. He smiled at the bucket, and the bucket said nothing. Here we go, said Stanley. This time I'll really show you. He ran to the number 3 and began to wail on it like a musician on a beloved instrument, weaving a concerto of truth and passion. He wielded the number 3 like a fine artist would wield a paintbrush. He told stories through the number 3, stories of his dreams and hopes and fears, and the whole time he looked to his bucket for a reaction of some kind. Anything to let him know that the bucket appreciated what he was doing. The bucket conveyed absolutely nothing at all, only silence. Crushed by a wave of dejection, Stanley returned to the elevator. Stanley and the bucket were so close. They'd always been there for one another. Why suddenly could the bucket not connect with this passion of Stanley's? The question caused Stanley to ruminate the whole way down the elevator. He knew that there must be a way to get through to the bucket, to communicate fully with his dear friend. Surely there was a solution, mustn't there be? Said Stanley. I know what to do. I know how to fully express this feeling in my heart.
He decided right then and there that he would hold a press conference where he would speak to the public on all matters relating to pressing the number 3 over and over. He would elaborate fully on what the number 3 meant to him and why he felt so alive when pressing it. Then the bucket would be able to see his joy through the eyes of others. It would get to see the world react to this discovery of Stanley's. And it would be through the public eye that the bucket would finally understand Stanley's work. For months, he advertised and marketed his press conference, building excitement around it, developing and rehearsing it, until it couldn't be refined a single measure further. When the big day arrived, Stanley was as prepared as he'd ever been for anything in his life. This was it. One last chance to win the bucket over. One opportunity to share a true connection with a loved one. There was no one here. Nobody had come to the press conference to hear Stanley speak, to listen to him talk about what it really means to press the number 3 on a keypad over and over. He was unloved, uninteresting, he was a failure, and in that moment Stanley knew that the bucket would never again take him seriously. There would be no connection, no deeper understanding. The bucket merely sat there in his arms, indifferent. And so it began that slowly, over many years, the two of them grew more and more distant. They spoke less and less, neither wishing to state the obvious, that any sense of real respect between them had eroded since that day at the press conference. There would be no more games, no more long conversations about passion and pursuit, only a silence that consumed the space between friends. And Stanley, having for once in his life discovered the warmth and comfort of true companionship, was cast back into the unremarkable normalcy of loneliness.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Here's the door, just go. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided... blackness, and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Stanley felt lightheaded, butterflies in his stomach. Giddy but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track. But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's... When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was grand, majestic, perhaps, but eager to get back to business. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps... All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he...
Well, chat, it's been very fun, but I gotta head out of here. Goodbye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.